They'll feel what?
Lied to.
Lied to. Yeah. Yeah, so you have to be careful because your friends might find out who you really are and not like you. Or heck, maybe your friends will find out who you really are and they will like you. People will change their opinions of you. It's a challenging thing because we're kind of oftentimes fed this line that we should be authentic, we should be ourselves. And there are a lot of circumstances in which that's probably true. We should be. But having said that, curiosity. Is the world a better place or a worse place for Hitler just being who he was? Yeah. Would you rather have had a Hitler who pretended not to be a genocidal maniac? Wouldn't the world be a better place if Hitler pretended to be a marathon runner? Or if we had let him, pretend to be a painter? Yeah. In other words, if you're somebody who's a really horrible person, well, geez, maybe you should pretend to be something other than what you are. And that doesn't mean you should backstab. It doesn't mean that you should manipulate and work behind the scenes to be the horrible person in the back. But another context I think about this in, if you're in a bad mood, for example, if you're in a bad mood, you just might have an obligation to pretend to be something other than what you are. I'll say that again. If you're in a bad mood, you just might have an obligation to pretend to be something other than what you are. Because, so for example, you guys have instructors who come in and they're in a bad mood, and you know they're in a bad mood, and then what does that do to the tone of the class? Puts everybody else in a bad mood. Everything you do. I mean, it's exaggerating, but someone stands up to use the restroom. Where are you going? Why? You have to ask first. You've never made us ask before in the past. Well, today's different. Yeah, and then you're kind of concerned about nearly everything that you do. There's this tension that's in the room. And that's just somebody who's an instructor. Maybe if you're driving down the street and you're in a bad mood and you cut people off because you're in a bad mood. Maybe, by doing that, by doing both of those things, we're making the world a worse place. And we're taking out our frustrations, our anger, on people who didn't even cause it. I mean, even if we look at like a teacher who's in a really bad mood, like why? It's not. I mean, especially if it's before class even starts, nobody in the room caused it, and if the person's just kind of an angry person generally, well, I mean, you didn't choose their career for them. They're the ones who chose to become a teacher, and all of the things that kind of go along with that. Let me ask you guys this, for example. What do you guys think it's like to be a teacher?
Pain.
Pain. Pain, what else?
Stressful.
Stressful. Why pain? Why is it painful?
Look around.
I do all the time.
Exactly.
I'm asking you.
Well, for one, you gotta deal with students not turning in work. Second, you probably have to break up fights every now and then. Or you can just ignore them. It really depends on the type of teacher you are. There's so many things.
What kind of a teacher breaks it up versus the kind of teacher who just walks past it?
Don't know the difference. Teachers are teachers.
That's the big period at the end of the sentence, isn't it? It's like when you if you ever watch an interview and someone, like they're in a movie and they work with Tom Cruise or something like that, and the interviewer asks, so what's it like working with Tom? And the guy says, well, Tom's Tom. You know what that means, don't you? Tom's an asshole. And the person just doesn't want to say it. Well, Tom's Tom. Whatever that means. Why is it stressful if the students don't turn in work?
No.
How many students I have?
That's not what I said.
God, do you realize what my day would be like if you all turned in your work and did? And was it last semester I said like 75–80% of you guys just took the L? God, that's a lot of stuff I don't have to grade. Don't get me wrong, I want you to be successful in life. But I have a desire for you to be successful that's also balanced out by a desire to do the stuff I do in life usually. And if everybody turned in their work all the time, man, we get jammed up, and I'd be grading all the time. I mean, there's a reason I can grade every 4 weeks or so, and in doing so, nothing good ever comes from a knock, man. Every 4 weeks, and in doing so, I mean, knocked out all the grading in like 2 hours. There's a reason for that. So I don't know, why would a teacher be upset that students don't turn stuff in? my point to you is that all around, on both sides of this, if a teacher comes in, they hate their job and they're in a terrible mood, maybe they shouldn't be themselves. Maybe they should pretend to be something other than what they are. Because otherwise, that affects 30 different moods in the room. And that affects 35 different days, 35 different fill in the blanks. And if students feel that way, same thing. It should probably not be who you are that day. Be something better than what you are. Because that's the goal, isn't it? Every day to be something better than what you are. I mean, if the goal in life is, just be yourself, yeah, but that doesn't mean we should do it without growth. It means that you should be who you are, but also become who you should become. And the should is filled in by you. What should you become? I can only answer that in a very basic way. You should become a better person. What it means to be better, you don't need me to tell you. You can figure that out. You don't need me to tell you that. You don't need anybody to tell you that. You know what you should be. It's one of the reasons that we do hate school, because school is an effort in a lot of ways to shape us into who we should be. We should be people who are responsible. We should be people who fulfill our responsibilities. We should be people who show up on time. We should be people who are respectful. We should be people who respond when people are talking to us. There's a lot of things that school teaches us about how we should be, just because it's good for us. It also helps to function, it helps society to function. I don't know if there's anything objectionable in all of that. And I don't know if there's anybody in here say, I shouldn't have to fulfill responsibilities. Really? In life, do you think your life will be better or worse if you fulfill your responsibilities? You may not like the format in which it's being brought to you, but would any of you guys, if I brought a bag of money in here and it contained $1 million, and I dipped it in a pile of shit and handed it to you, would any of you guys go, "Ugh, I don't want that $1 million"? Or would you find a way to wash it off and make use of it? There are a lot of things in life that are like that, where you may not like the bag that's being handed to you in, but the contents are really valuable, and they would benefit you significantly. And yet we kind of go, "I don't want that bag." All right. But the only one who's going to pay for that, metaphorically, I guess, is us. So there are a lot of things in life that we should pretend to be, even if we're not that. A lot of things in life, somebody here said it, that we should aspire to be. In other words, when we have somebody who we admire, we should pretend to be the things that that person is because we want to become that thing. Think about some sort of a role model you have or some sort of a hero that you have. Whatever those things are that make them your hero, those are the things that we can aspire to become. That's the whole point of a role model. They give us something that we want to become, something to aspire to. But as he also says, we should be careful about what we pretend to be. If you pretend to be someone who's ultra-confident, people might treat you that way. If you're somebody who gives off the impression that you're really smart, well, you're going to have to prove it. You're going to have to prove it. Also, if you're somebody who pretends to be a badass, don't be surprised when people step up to you to make you prove it. So we should be careful about the things that we pretend to be. But this is one of the ways that we aspire, by imitating people who are those things. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Moral of the story? Don't fight, you're a clown. But if you do, be the best clown you can be.